The fastest way to lose attraction isn't cheating. It's not lying. It's staying, while quietly resenting each other. And almost no one realizes they're doing it until it's too late. If you've ever felt confused in love, like you're giving more, explaining more, trying harder, yet feeling less seen, less desired, less respected, this video is for you. Modern dating doesn't fail because people don't care. It fails because most people were never taught emotional respect, not politeness, not being nice, but the deep psychological skill that separates immature attachment from mature love. By the end of this video, you'll understand why attraction dies even when feelings are strong, how emotional disrespect slowly poisons relationships, and how to build love that feels calm, powerful, and secure without losing yourself. Why love without emotional respect always collapses. At the beginning, it always feels right. The texts are fast. The chemistry is easy. The connection feels natural. You think, this is it. But months later, something shifts. You're still together, but you don't feel safe anymore. You hesitate before speaking. You replay conversations in your head. You feel misunderstood, but you can't explain why. That's not a communication problem. That's emotional disrespect quietly taking over. Here's the truth most people avoid. Love doesn't end suddenly. Respect erodes slowly. And emotional respect is not about how much someone loves you. It's about how seriously they treat your inner world, your feelings, your boundaries, your reality. Let's break this down. Emotional disrespect doesn't look like shouting or insults at first. It looks like dismissing your emotions as overthinking, turning your vulnerability into a debate, listening to respond, not to understand, making jokes out of things that matter to you, saying you're too sensitive instead of asking why it hurts subtle, socially acceptable. Socially, psychologically destructive. And here's the twist. Most emotionally disrespectful people don't think they're disrespectful. They think they're being logical, honest, direct. But emotional maturity isn't about being right. It's about being attuned. Mature love says, I may not fully understand your feeling, but I respect that it exists. Immature love says, if I don't feel it, it shouldn't matter. That difference changes everything, because the nervous system keeps score. When your emotions are consistently dismissed, your body learns something dangerous. It's not safe to be real here. And once safety leaves, attraction follows. You can't feel desire where you feel minimized. You can't feel closeness where you feel emotionally alone. This is why so many couples say, I don't know what changed. What changed was respect. And here's the hard part to swallow. Sometimes emotional disrespect isn't coming from them. It's coming from you, toward yourself, staying silent to keep peace, lowering standards to avoid conflict, accepting less because you're afraid to lose connection. That's not love, that's emotional self-abandonment. And the paradox, the more you abandon yourself, the less you're respected. Not because people are evil, but because humans subconsciously respect self-respect. Which leads us to the next truth. Emotional respect is built through boundaries, not pleasing. Let's get something straight. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They don't push people away, they reveal who's capable of staying. Emotionally mature people feel safer around boundaries. Emotionally immature people feel threatened by them. That's the test. Emotional respect shows up when someone pauses instead of reacting. They ask questions instead of making assumptions. They take responsibility instead of deflecting. They adjust behavior without resentment. Not perfectly, but consistently. Now let's talk attraction, because this matters. Many people, especially in modern dating, confuse emotional availability with emotional overexposure. They overshare, over-explain, over-justify. And they think, If I just communicate better, they'll finally understand me. But here's the psychological truth. Respect is not created through convincing. It's created through clarity. When you explain yourself repeatedly to someone who isn't listening, you don't earn respect. You train them to ignore you. Emotionally mature confidence sounds like, "This matters to me. If it doesn't to you, that tells me something." No threat, no drama, just grounded self-worth. And this is where attraction deepens, because emotional respect is deeply tied to polarity. Not masculine versus feminine stereotypes, but self-contained energy versus needy energy. Needy energy seeks validation. Grounded energy expects alignment. One repels attraction, the other anchors it. Here's a real scenario. You bring up something that hurt you. Immature response. "I didn't mean it like that. You're blowing it out of proportion." Mature response. "I didn't realize that affected you. Tell me more." Same situation, different emotional maturity. And notice, the mature response doesn't require guilt or submission. It requires presence. That's emotional leadership. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If someone repeatedly fails to respect your emotions after you've clearly expressed them, that's not a misunderstanding. That's a decision. And every time you stay silent after that, you make one too. Self-respect isn't loud. It's consistent. It's knowing when to speak and when to walk away. And walking away isn't punishment. It's alignment. Which brings us to the final and most important layer of mature love. Emotional respect is what makes love feel calm, not chaotic. Mature love feels boring to people addicted to emotional chaos. Let that land. If you grew up associating love with intensity, inconsistency, or emotional highs and lows, calm can feel unfamiliar, even suspicious. But emotional respect creates peace, not fireworks. You don't feel the need to perform. You don't fear honesty. You don't walk on eggshells. You feel grounded, and that groundedness is magnetic, because when emotional respect exists, conflict becomes constructive, vulnerability becomes strength, differences don't threaten connection, silence doesn't feel dangerous. You trust the bond because it doesn't require self-erasure. And here's the key realization. Emotionally mature love doesn't ask you to shrink. It asks you to arrive fully. Your needs, your boundaries, your voice, without aggression, without apology, just truth. This is why emotionally mature relationships last. Not because they avoid conflict, but because conflict doesn't destroy respect. And the most powerful part, when you embody emotional respect for yourself, you stop chasing chemistry that hurts you. You stop romanticizing inconsistency. You stop negotiating basic decency. You stop calling anxiety passion. You choose connection that feels steady, not stressful. And yes, that requires letting go of people who only loved the version of you that tolerated less. But what you gain is something rare. A relationship where love feels like home, not a test. That's mature love, not perfect, not dramatic, but deeply respectful. And once you experience it, you'll never settle for less again. Here's my question for you. Have you ever mistaken emotional intensity for emotional respect? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them. If this gave you clarity, subscribe for more grounded psychological insight on love, attraction, and self-worth. And share this with someone who's loving deeply, but forgetting to respect themselves. Because the right love won't ask you to disappear to be chosen.